Hello, everybody, and welcome on into a Halloween edition of Prop Culture. I'm Thomas Viola, and joining me, as always, Derek Carty of EV Analytics. Derek, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Coming off another winning week. We hit our 20-1 Joe Flacco touchdown on like the first drive.
Yes, we did. That was fantastic.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get another good week in the books here.
Indeed. Thank you all for joining us a little bit early here on this special Halloween episode. Derek and I did not coordinate, so one of us is in costume here today and the other one is not. Oh, it's going to be a fun one, though. We have plenty to talk about, my friends. Evan is here in the chat saying it is Carty o'clock. Who had Cheeseburger Eddie saying who had Flacco first TD? Yeah, we can victory lap that some more. That was a fantastic call, and I can't believe that we were able to get it. So it's going to definitely mess up our record just a tiny bit, but hey, we aren't going to be upset about that, Derek, because we ended up going 6-5 for plus 7.1 units last week, 56 and 45, 25.8 units, 24.6 overall ROI on the season so far. I can't believe we're already halfway done, but it is feeling good.
It is. It's been a really good year. I think I've had one losing week all year. Every other week has been a winning week, which always feels really nice, especially to start the year that way. You don't have to sweat as much that you have to crush the second half of the season. So yeah, things are going well.
Exactly. It has been very nice. And oh man, look what we have here. Nick Porter, I wish I put more than 0.1 units on it. That's how you always go with a long shot. You look back after one hits and you're like, oh, I should have put more on that.
Oh, it was so obvious. You knew it was going to hit.
Yep. All right. We have a ton to get to today. So let's get on into it. And you guys know the drill. Drop your questions in the chat the whole time. Oh, Nick didn't have first. Come on, man. Oh yeah. First touchdown was like 70-1. Or no, first touchdown was definitely like 100-1.
Yeah, it had to be something crazy because we just any time was 20-1. So
yeah. Reed forgot we were early today. All good, man. You are here. We are good to go. And let's get into it, Derek, with our first couple. If you want to throw your screen up here, we can get going. But we've got a lot to get to, a whole bunch on the slate here, my friend. Looking like a very, very good prop day. Very excited for this. And I'm glad that everybody is here. Everybody's here riding along with us a little bit early on this nice Halloween weekend. Let's get started. We're going to Alvin Kamara's receptions market as we get started here.
Yep, we are looking at Alvin Kamara receptions, not widely available at the moment, but FanDuel has it. And so I think just about everybody should have access to that. Oh, you know what? It is widely available. There's a new feature here. Mm-hmm. If you look at this lines filter, you can look at all lines or just the best line, which is fun. So I had best checked. Okay, there we go. So now we can see it everywhere else. But okay. So our best line here is going to be this FanDuel, this 2.5 plus 140. You can see, I guess there's some 3.5s out there that look fine. There's some 2.5s a little bit lower that are not quite as good, but are still fine. But I think that FanDuel number should be pretty accessible to everybody. You can see the blitz is projecting right at that 2.5 number here for Kamara. We have, another one of these kind of, we talk about them coin flip type plays that we're getting a good plus money. And so we like these kind of plays. I like these kind of plays. Kamara is obviously one of the premier pass catching backs in football, but has not been targeted nearly as much this year. And starting last week with Kendre Miller out, kind of thought, okay, Alvin Kamara is probably going to pick up a little bit more work now. Kendre Miller had been eating into it. And then Devin Neal goes and takes the third down work. So, hopefully that continues this week. And, we're getting a new quarterback in New Orleans this week with Tyler Shuck. And teams do tend to run a little bit more when they have a rookie quarterback. So that should also kind of help here in terms of the, lowering the pass volume a little bit. So yeah, Kamara under 2.5 at plus 140.
Yeah, there we go. I forgot we do have a new quarterback this week in New Orleans. Going to make things pretty interesting here. And we might be coming back to a couple other of these New Orleans props. As what's the Mata hops in a little bit late. You just missed it. Alvin Kamara under 2.5 receptions. We got a plus 134 at DK right now. that looks like it's our best available line. FanDuel might have just updated. Oh, no, we've got plus 140 at Bet365. If you can get down your $3.65 there, there you go. That'll work for you. All right, next up here, we are going to a guy who has burned us a couple times, but his number just keeps getting higher. Jamar Chase receptions. We had the under 6.5. I don't think it was a show play because I think it was the Thursday night game 2 weeks ago where we had under 6.5. At least I know that the blitz showed an edge on it, and he had like 16 targets.
Yeah, he has been getting targeted an insane amount recently, and that's clearly why we're getting an 8.5 line at plus money. I can't not take an 8.5 line at plus money for anybody. I mean, the blitz is projecting 8 for him, so it likes Jamar Chase. It knows he's going to get targeted. It knows the Bengals want to throw the ball, but his target rate over the past 3 weeks is like just something completely insane. It's like, what is it? It's 46%. Nobody stays at 46%. The elite target earners get like 30 to 35 sustainably. You know, the old school, prime Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, like 35. That's what they get. Nobody gets 46. You have to expect some regression here for Jamar Chase. When you get that regression baked in, the 8.5 at plus money just looks too big.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Joe Flacco is not going to keep hyper targeting him. I mean, at least we hope
can't. Like it doesn't happen that way. Not over a long sample size.
Eventually teams start figuring out, hey, maybe we need to make him throw. Maybe we need to make the 40-year-old quarterback throw to someone other than the best receiver in the league. Just a thought.
You would think that would be part of the strategy.
Hopefully it will be this week. Let's talk about another player who has just been absolutely dominant this season, and we're going to be taking an under on Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, normally you're looking to his rushing markets, but in the passing game, that's the one spot where he's not really as prevalent in this Colts offense.
Yeah, not quite as prevalent here. Under 2.5 at plus 125. Another one that's actually a little better than a coin flip. Amir Abdullah has been called up from was signed off the practice squad like 3 weeks ago. He's been getting worked in more, taking some of the passing down work a little bit. Taylor's still going to get a monster workload, but this one projects well here.
Jim Robinson pointing out, is Flacco even playing in this game? It looks like he's going to.
It looks like he will, but it's not guaranteed. There's still a chance he won't. Yeah.
Which is why my fantasy situation is hanging by a thread. I have Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields and no one else at quarterback, and they're both on bye this week. So, and it's a dynasty league and it's deep. Like I have to hope Jake Browning plays so I can pick him up and start him. Things are dire.
Wow. Yeah, that is dire.
Yeah, it's quite rough. Let's move on. My other quarterbacks were Jameis Winston and Deshaun Watson. So you can see how things have gone for me since we drafted this league.
Yes, I can. That's unfortunate.
Let's talk about Tony Pollard here because we've got 2 plays that we want to get to with him. One of them was how I found out I am in MGM limit hell once again.
So we're looking at Tony Pollard under 14.5 receiving yards, minus 110 at DraftKings or ESPN is going to be our best line here. Tajay Spears is back from the injured list now, looks healthy. There's been a lot of articles, I feel like this week, especially like waiver wire articles talking up Tajay Spears and how he's eating into Tony Pollard's work. And on the pass game side, that is absolutely true. Tony Pollard's routes have been down. His targets have been down. And so when you account for that, he on the year, he's been running a route on 57% of the dropbacks. The last 3 weeks with Spears back, it's 39%. So definitely less pass game work here for Pollard. And we're looking at the under on it because the blitz is projecting actually under 10 here for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit it's going to be a little bit rough. I mean, I think that we've hit this bet a couple times so far already this season. He's simply not getting passing work with Cam Ward at quarterback. But how about his carries market? Are we looking at his rushing involvement?
We are going to look at his rushing involvement. And as much as everyone is talking about how Tajay Spears is eating into his work, that has definitely been more the case in the passing side than on the rushing side. I think this is kind of an overreaction to Tajay Spears. You can see the blitz is projecting 12.5 here, and we're going to get 10.5 at plus 105 or even money or somewhere near that, depending on what book you're at. So this is one I don't mind. I don't mind as much because I think the narrative is not quite telling the reality of the situation. Now, it's possible that Tajay Spears starts eating even more into his work on the ground. Tajay Spears has been more efficient. You don't know what the team's going to do. But Tony Pollard is a guy that last year they used as just a monster workhorse. And even when Spears was on the field. So I think over 10.5 here looks pretty reasonable.
Yeah, he really still was the guy, and we'll see how that Tajay Spears starts to work out. But a backfield that is definitely coming under a little bit more question here. Even with Tank Bigsby gone, there's still a lot in the Jaguars backfield to make you look at Travis Etienne and say, is he still the guy?
Yep, we are looking at Travis Etienne under, let's resort. What do we have here? Travis Etienne under 14.5 carries at minus 120 is our best line. You can see some of the market is down at 13.5 right now. That's the way it has been moving. I would imagine it's going to close at 13.5 or maybe even 12.5. You can see the blitz is projecting a little over 12 here. Jacksonville is going into the Dome in Las Vegas, which tends to promote passing. They are it looks like a similar situation to what people are saying about Pollard and Spears, except we've actually started to see some of Etienne's groundwork erode. Last week, in terms of non-red zone carries, Etienne and Bishal Tootin had exactly the same amount. So this is a situation to monitor. Etienne could be losing kind of a grip on this job. He has been less efficient than Tootin has, and so under 14.5 looks good to me.
And don't forget, LaQuinn Allen is also a very good running back who we hope will get more run in this Jacksonville offense. So
yeah, they've used him more in a passing down role to this point, but he could definitely start to work into on the ground.
Shout out LaQuinn Allen, Syracuse legend. All right, next up, we've got Rico Dowdle. I mean, again, we're going from some guys where we're betting their unders as it looks like there might be some shift in the backfields to a guy that is very greatly benefiting from that shift, because I think the Panthers have finally figured out that maybe you should be playing the good running back.
Yeah, so based on some of the quotes that have come out of Carolina this week, we're looking at Rico Dowdle over 12.5 carries at plus 105. This one's a little bit of an outlier number, but I don't mind taking it in this area as well if you can get like the minus 115, minus 120-ish. Because I do think that there's even upside beyond the projection here. There's a chance that Dowdle just goes and gets like 80% of the work here, because historically Canales likes to use a guy as like a bell cow. Like he did it with Chuba Hubbard last year, and the backups got like nothing. This week, if you went into the Coach Speak Index Discord, let me see if I can pull up some of the quotes. But basically, where is it? Basically, what's his name? Dave Canales, the head coach. He more or less said like, "Hey, we appreciate Rico Dowdle has done everything. We appreciate everything he's done for our organization. He's helped us really set the tone and like let teams know that we're gonna be able to run the ball efficiently." He's like, I didn't necessarily want him to lose his job because of an injury, but like now that we've seen a couple of weeks, we've seen what he can do. We've seen what Rico Dowdle can do. Like it's my job to put the best players on the field, kind of thing. That's just me paraphrasing because there have been a bunch of quotes like this, but it seems like this is the week that Rico Dowdle gets the bulk of the work and Chuba Hubbard becomes a true backup as opposed to alternating drives and splitting up the work.
Yeah, I mean, and you kind of have to when you look at the efficiency metrics here. I completely agree. I think you slightly misspoke. You said Dowdle twice. I think you meant Chuba at the beginning, where you're saying Chuba has been great for the organization and all that. But just to clear that up for everybody, Tyler Jackson wants to know, is this a ladder spot?
It could be. Let me know what kind of odds you guys are seeing on ladders because, right now I can tell you what I'm projecting Dowdle at in terms of usage because I'm definitely not going as heavy as it could wind up being. I am projected for about 65% of the carries, Chuba for about 25 to 30. If Dowdle winds up 70, 75, 80, this projection would be too low. So ladders could certainly be in play if we're getting good enough odds on the chance that Dowdle does wind up getting that kind of work. It's not the best game script for a lot of running here because they're big underdogs against Green Bay. They're going to have to throw at some point, but especially a couple rungs, if you can get them at good plus money, I think we're definitely interested in that.
Mm-hmm. And maybe look at his yardage props as well, because that's one where you have that extra elastic variance of he could break off a big run and all of a sudden you're just tearing over these yardage props. So be sure to check that out as well. All right. Next up, we're going back to Alvin Kamara here. We talked about him not getting as much work in the passing game, but his rushing total is set at 37.5 yards. And we've got a new quarterback, as we mentioned, in New Orleans. Where are we going on this Kamara play?
Yep, we are looking at Kamara over 37.5 rushing yards, minus 110, minus 111. Are the best numbers on the board. You can see the markets goes up as high as 39.5 or 40.5. They still project as 5-star plays. So you can play this pretty much at any number on the board right now. I mentioned that Devin Neal came in, took more work than I expected. But it was more in the pass game than in the ground game. In the ground game, while the game was close, Neal did not get a single carry between the 20s. And so I think Kamara is still going to be getting a good amount of the groundwork here. It is a situation where they're also like 2 touchdown underdogs here against the Rams, and they're going to have to be throwing the ball. But with a rookie quarterback, we do see teams try to establish the run a little bit more. And even if they do wind up having to throw the ball, this is a low number for a guy who should be getting the bulk of the carries here and who is still talented. So yeah, I like the over here on Kamara. You can see the blitz is projecting like 15 yards over the implied number.
Yeah, I picked this one up last night as well, thinking the same exact thing. First off, obviously the numbers popped, but that's a very low rushing total for a guy who's been a marquee back for a very long time.
Yeah, it is.
Next up here, we've got a guy who has not been a marquee running back and quite frankly doesn't do much at all. Emmanuel Wilson over at the Green Bay Packers, especially with Josh Jacobs back fully healthy. Emmanuel Wilson's on the Packers, right? I'm not crazy. I'm thinking of Michael Wilson on the Cardinals. So yes, I was right there. Wilson gets like no carries.
Yeah, Wilson gets like no carries unless the last couple of weeks he's gotten some because Jacobs has been kind of banged up. I'm expecting with Jacobs healthy now for Jacobs basically to just go back to taking most of the work and Wilson kind of just getting scraps or potentially some garbage time. If they're up by enough in the second half, they're comfortable that the game is in hand. They could take out Jacobs. They could let Wilson run. That's, I think, the biggest threat to this more than anything else, because like we said, they are two touchdown favorites here against Carolina. But even when a team is a 2-touchdown favorite, that doesn't mean a blowout is assured or even necessarily the most likely scenario. If the likely scenario is they're going to win by 2 touchdowns by 14 points, they're not going to be putting in the backups with just a 2-touchdown lead until it gets very late. So I do think that people overestimate the chances of blowouts, and I think that we're getting some value on the under for Wilson as a result of that. And the recent work, which I don't think is going to continue.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I am just fine betting Emmanuel Wilson unders. I think I have this one in my portfolio already as well. Now let's talk about a guy who's been a little up and down this season in Bo Nix. He's definitely had a little bit of a sophomore slump, but the Cowboys defense kind of cures all ails, and he looked good this week. We're banking on more of that, or at least more passing required in the Broncos matchup this week.
Yeah, we're looking at Bo Nix pass attempts. We are looking at over 32.5 at plus 102 at FanDuel is going to be our best number here. going into a dome in Houston, which is going to help. We know that domes tend to promote passing volume, passing efficiency. This game projects as, I think it's the second or the third fastest paced game of the entire week. So overall play volume, the blitz is expecting to be high. You can see the blitz is projecting about 5 attempts over this number. So we're definitely getting some edge with some wiggle room.
Yeah. And this is the other nice thing is we don't need him to be efficient with these passes. He could be sailing them over the receivers' heads, and it's not going to matter because we are going to be all set. Attempts are all that matters for us here. All right. He's back in action. Let's talk about our boy. It's time for a Geno Smith prop.
We know that you guys were all waiting for it. So we got Geno Smith for you, but we're actually fading Geno Smith on this one. We're looking at his pass attempts under, and we're looking at under 32.5. We'll use this -110 at MGM. This isn't an American book. So the -110 at MGM or at Hard Rock. And the kind of the crux of this play is that Geno Smith has been really bad. And it does seem like the leash is starting to tighten, especially coming off of a bye. Like they may have a plan in place for, okay, if Geno struggles, we're going to pull him halfway through the game. And who's the backup? Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett is going to come in here and we're going to give him a shot. So this is based, one, he hasn't been that good, but more than anything else, I'm projecting, I think, about a 10 or a 15% chance of him getting benched midway through the game, which would lead to him probably not getting this. Especially, garbage time is one of the key ways that guys like this tend to get these overs. And if he's not in the game for that, he's definitely not getting it.
Yeah. All right. Nick, I see your question in the chat here. We will get to you in just a minute when we start talking about more touchdowns, but we will absolutely get to you because that's a great question. But we've got another Geno Smith prop because, ladies and gentlemen, we can't go a single week without betting it. Guys, it's the Geno interception prop. Where are we going, Derek?
We're going under half an interception for Geno, +120 at FanDuel and ESPN are our best lines. If he gets benched, it's probably because he throws an interception, but there's also a chance he doesn't throw one because theoretically he is still an accurate-ish passer and he's at home. He's in the dome. Yeah, no. I get it. I get it. Nobody wants to play this. So don't play it if you don't want to, but the value is still there. The projection is still says there's value. So I am going to keep riding this one. But yeah, I totally understand if people do not want to.
My dad yells at me for this one every single week. He hates Geno.
I feel so bad for him. He was so good. I don't know what happened.
He did. I mean, maybe it was just the fact that now he's throwing to Trey Tucker and friends and not Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tyler Lockett. Well, now he's throwing to Tyler Lockett again, but good luck with that. And DK Metcalf.
Yeah. Good news is he's getting Brock Bowers back this week. Jacoby Myers should play this week. So he's got like a full cast. And coming off the bye. So hopefully he's a little bit sharper. We'll have to see.
We will. I think the Bowers thing could be a very big deal. Like that's giving yourself a really big weapon back. I think the Bowers props may have popped a little bit to the over. I might have something in that. I'd have to go back and look at it. All right. We can move on from Geno here because we're going to something else ugly. Bryce Young interceptions. It is the interception bouquet portion of the programming, gentlemen. And Bryce Young is up there.
Yeah, this is one I've taken a couple times. I don't think it's been profitable just yet, at least the ones that I've taken, but I'm still going to take it. An under interception at +130 looks good to me. You can see the projection here under that 0.5 number. We're looking at better than a coin flip, probably like a 60%er at like +130 or +125 or wherever you can get it. So it's gross. He's probably going to have to throw the ball a good amount. But the projection says the value's there, so I'm going to trust the math.
Yep, we will have to see, but you guys know the drill with these props, and I want to say Boglor is going to hop. Boglor's probably forgotten if he's not already in the chat here that it was an hour early today, but he's got our tracking sheet for these interception props and how they've been doing because you know him, he's betting a ton of these. We've got one more. We're going back to J.J. McCarthy as Carson Wentz is now dead. So the Vikings are going back to J.J. at quarterback here. Ethan Craig, real quick, wants to know, would you go down to short as plus 105 on Young? That feels very short compared to plus 130.
It does, but if it's like a 60%er, I mean, that was still showing five pluses, I think. So I think I still probably take it there if that's the best line you have.
There you go. All right, Dante, I see you in the chat as well. We will get to some of those. We are just about done here with Derek's plays, but let's talk about J.J. McCarthy real quick.
All right. J.J. McCarthy making his first start since the start of the year, coming off injury. Wentz is gone. Under half an interception at plus 130. We don't know a lot about him, but generally when you have a quarterback in a good system, he tends to perform decently. I'll take the plus 130 on it because that's what the math is telling me to do.
Yep. It's quite that simple, and maybe they'll be a little bit conservative with JJ coming back out here, lean more heavily on the run game. Yeah. You got to. I see the path here. All right, Derek. I was a little surprised that this made it back in the play sheet here.
I know.
We're going back to the Flacco touchdowns market.
We are going back. They're going to give us an even better number this week. We're getting it at plus 2,200 at FanDuel. They're giving us an extra 200 points on it. Of course we're going back. We hit it last week. It projects just as well this week. I mentioned last week, like Flacco is obviously not a mobile quarterback, not a guy that's going to be running a lot or scrambling a lot. But the Bengals are a team that are fully capable and kind of like to run quarterback design stuff in the red zone near the goal line. Last week, it was set up so perfectly last week. Like I think they passed it to, I think it was to P. Ryan, and he got tackled at like the half-yard line. And I was like, oh, this is it. This is it. It's Flacco time. And it was Flacco time. Not going to be quite that clean every week, but at 22-1, I will take that shot again.
I mean, they're showing you that they're willing to, with the ball on the 1 yard line, QB sneak it with their 40-year-old quarterback.
Yeah. And so for the odds we're being given when that is an option for them, it's clear value.
Yeah. Now is the good time for Nick's question here, because Andrew says, give me that first TD score at 100-1 too. Nick wants to know, when you're placing a wager on a player to score an anytime touchdown, which we don't do a ton of, is it almost always worth sprinkling a tiny bit on that same player to score the first TD of the game? What do you think, Derek? I personally think, I mean, the hold in these markets is very large, but if you can find an edge, it might be worth just having something on that for a little bit of fun. I mean, believe it or not, this is supposed to be fun.
It is supposed to be fun, and there's something to be said for that. First touchdown isn't a market that I've looked at a lot myself. Even just the anytime touchdowns is kind of a newer market that I've been looking at this year. And like you said, it's very easy to hide the hold in this. But for some of these more obscure players, some of these longer shots, it does seem like there's value to be found on the anytime. So I would imagine the same is true for the first touchdown. I'd want to see the math on it to be, perfectly confident that it's like, we're getting the right odds for it to be first touchdown. But assuming there's value on the anytime and assuming the first touchdown, you're getting it, a much bigger number, I would guess you're probably getting similar value on it. So yeah, if you want to do it, especially for fun, then sure.
Yeah. Chad says, what is the multiplier we would need to see if the anytime touchdown is value? I mean, that's a good question for Matt that I'm sure that we have not thought about.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to do in my head, and I'd have to actually run the numbers to give you an accurate number for that.
Yep. Tyler Jackson says no Penix INT under. A little shocked as it's at plus money. I mean, there's plenty of them that definitely show value. Those are just the three that we've picked out.
Yeah, we'll pull it up real quick. We'll look at
and then we have one more touchdown score.
Right. Yeah, we do. So yeah, you can see, especially if you can get it at the plus number, definitely showing good value. Once you start getting lower, not quite as much. But again, there's always so much value to be found. Even though we give out like 15 picks on the show, there's still, 10 times, maybe not 10 times, but a lot more out there on this sheet that if you're using it yourself that you can find. I'm kind of just given a taste of it.
Yep. And Bogler's probably finding 10 times as many plays. We know that for sure.
Sounds
Nick
like he
Portos
is.
didn't have to hop off early. Great show today. Hey, thank you so much for being here with us, Nick. We appreciate it. Last play that we have to get to here, Terrell Jennings. Derek, I cannot tell you what team Terrell Jennings plays for, but we have him to score a touchdown at plus 550 today.
Terrell Jennings. I'm going to need to specify what Jennings it is. Terrell.
Terrell?
Yep, TE. Okay, good call. I don't know how to spell his name. We're looking at Jennings to score a touchdown at, I guess at plus 500 here at MGM is going to be our best number. I think we had a 550 before the show, but the 500 is still going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Ramondre Stevenson hasn't practiced all week. About an hour or two ago, they announced officially he's going to be out this week. And so that's going to leave right now just two running backs on the roster. It's going to be Travion Henderson, who we don't know what they think of Travion Henderson. Like, he has been buried all year. There is a chance that they just don't want to give the work to Travion Henderson. And if that's the case, then Terrell Jennings is next man up. If Jennings is getting work, even if it's just in the red zone, I think plus 500 for him here. There's enough of a shot where even as the backup, there's still value here, but there's even more potential if he winds up being more than just the backup. So I think this one's a fun one to do, especially if, we get into the game and all of a sudden it's Jennings as the lead back and not Henderson, and everyone on Twitter is mad and we're sitting on a Jennings touchdown prop. I just feel like that would be a lot of fun.
I mean, that is peak Patriots running back management, isn't it? Like, come on.
It sounds like something the Patriots would do.
Yeah. And they, for some reason, absolutely hate Travion Henderson. It has been incredible watching them just go all over themselves to say, no, we are not giving this guy the football. We are not letting him run the ball. It's very frustrating for me. I drafted him. Richo, we got some 500. MGM has a 500 out there. But yeah, this is a good opportunity to pick up something, because the Patriots might be very well be giving anyone but Travion the ball in this scenario. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have completed our props for you, but that means it is time to hear from you and your props. Start throwing them in the chat. Dante Kelsey has our first one with the Tet McMillan overs. Derek, while you get that queued up for us, I will go back through our recap real quick, because we have Alvin Kamara under 2.5 receptions, plus 140 at FanDuel and 365. Jamar Chase under 8.5 receptions, plus 116 is our best line there. Jonathan Taylor under 2.5 receptions at plus 125. Tony Pollard under 14.5 receiving yards, minus 110. Tony Pollard over 10.5 carries at plus 110. Travis Etienne under 14.5 carries, minus 120. Geno Smith under 0.5 interceptions at plus 125. Bryce Young under 0.5 interceptions at plus 130. JJ McCarthy under 0.5 interceptions at plus 128. Joe Flacco touchdowns once again at 22-1. Terrell Jennings over 0.5 touchdowns at plus 550. And then we've got Rico Dowdle over 12.5 carries at plus 105. Alvin Kamara over 37.5 rushing yards at minus 111. Emmanuel Wilson under 30.5 rushing yards at minus 110. Bo Nix over 32.5 pass attempts at plus 102. And Geno rounds us off at under 32.5 pass attempts here, Derek. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much. Let us talk about those Tet McMillan numbers now.
Yeah, so I pulled it up. It doesn't look like there's a lot of value showing on him. Some very marginal. You can see one plus value if you can get like the best number on the board for his receptions. Receiving yards didn't have any value. The blitz is pretty much right in line with the market on him. The Panthers are going to have to throw the ball, but the market kind of knows that. And Bryce Young's back, which is probably a downgrade to Andy Dalton. And basically the whole team is healthy now. Sanders is healthy. Coker's healthy. Leggett is healthy. So yeah, not a lot of value here.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tougher going here for Tet, although he's probably still going to he's probably going to still do some stuff, but you might want to watch out on the props here this week for him. All right. Rich wants to, Bro KGB wants to know, Rich, we'll get to you in a second. Jaden Daniels over 40.5 rushing yards.
This is one I know was showing value before. I was looking at it and debating it for the show. So Let's pull it up, but this one definitely has value.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, look at that. So projecting about 14 yards over the implied line here. Daniels seems fully healthy. Hopefully they're not going to limit him. I have him projected fairly unlimited in terms of, design runs and that kind of thing. So this one looks pretty good to me.
Mm-hmm. Chad saying what we talked about earlier. Panthers athletic department said Dowdle will get the start and bulk of the carries here. Rich says Stroud interceptions seems like another terrible value bet.
We can take.
He's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. I mean, some of the gross stuff is, it's gross for a reason, and they offer you the right odds to take it. Let's see. CJ Stroud. Oh yeah, you can definitely take CJ Stroud under interceptions. A little gross, but you want to put our hand in the dirt for a second. Like Surtain is out for Denver this week, so that will help. Yeah, go for it. Fire it up. Mm-hmm. Increase that interception volume.
Let's see. We've got one here. Dante Kelsey wants to know about Broncos -6.5. That is an alt spread for you here on this one because the Broncos have switched to being +1.5, which quite frankly, surprising market movement for me on this one. I got them at +105 earlier in the week because I was thinking this was going to go the other way. And instead, Texans have been getting money so far.
Yeah, so +1.5 right now. The Blitz is saying it should be about plus 0.25. I don't know with the alt what kind of odds you're getting on it. I don't know.
Hang on, Dante. I got you covered here. Let me see what I can pull up for this market. Okay, +102. And you want -6.5. I'm going to tell you that you should get +264. If you can get +264 or better, that's a good bet on Broncos -6.5 here. Andres Sanchez wants to know about Andre Yoshivas over 2.5 receptions at +130. Both teams play fast. Flacco is fine, and he's running a lot of routes unless Chates gets 25 targets again, which is very possible. That being said, I have bet this and lost multiple times so far this season, but it's still a good bet, and I know that it's popping on some value a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like actually the under is popping on some value, especially ESPN has this 1.5 at +150. That looks like it's showing good value. If other books move down to 1.5s, maybe that's worth considering. He has been playing more with Mike Gesicki out, but it does look like the Blitz is seeing value on the under here.
Yeah. Russian says, man, I joined late, early start. Yes, you did miss Geno picks. Geno picks under at +125. We did. What number is that Tyrell Jennings good to? We got it at 5-1.
Yeah. Let me pull it back up and then I can tell you. Jennings.
Yeah, that's a good bet, Rich. There you go. -6.5 at +280.
Nice. Yeah, so the theoretical break-even point on this, according to the Blitz, is 332. I don't think I'd bet it all the way down there, but if you're betting it down to +400, I think you're good. The 380 is probably fine enough because again, I think there's a little bit of upside beyond this. Mm-hmm. This is one that the numbers were looking better like a half hour before the show, and they have been on the move. So numbers are not as good as they were when I first put this on the card.
Jim Robinson says, nice reverse parlay look. There's some inverse correlation here. Under 8.5 receptions, over 90+ yards, 8-1 at FanDuel. 90 yards on 8 catches. That's doable, especially for Chase. You got to watch for those inversely correlated parlays. They could be pretty solid for you.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. That's kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. +800.
Especially at 8-1.
I do like that.
Yeah. Mark Rabinovich says that Broncos -6.5 crosses 0, though. That's good. That's a good thing for us because we're taking the underdog and we're not buying points, we're giving points. So crossing the 0 is kind of a worthless thing. We are getting more value by crossing the 0. Does that make sense? Because we're going from +1.5 the other way. If we were taking a favorite and making them an underdog, it would not be good. Oh, Taylor Swift just ruled out.
I believe it's DeAndre Swift.
Could be either or. All right, DeAndre Swift ruled out for the week. That can affect this Bears situation a little bit.
Definitely. So I'm going to butcher his name, but the rookie Kyle Monangai is going to be the lead back here, presumably. Maybe a little bit of Roshan Johnson in there, but I will have to adjust projections and then see if we have any Monangai lines to see. I can't imagine there's lines out right now on him. If there are, the books are scrambling to close them.
You know my favorite thing to order. You know my favorite thing to order at a Chinese restaurant? The cream of Monangai. Luke McCaffrey under 2.5 catches. Let's go to that one next. Man, the younger McCaffrey brother has not been lighting it up as much lately, but that's also because there have been more mouths to feed on this Commanders offense. But
he actually played his like a career high, or not? It was probably a career high too. Ran a career high route share last week. Played above Moore, played above Lane. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of run he gets this week. Not any kind of value on the over, a little on the under, not enough for me to take it. But yeah, he's an interesting guy to watch because his role definitely seemed to grow last week. It's going to be interesting to see if that sticks.
Let me tell you, Jalen Lane on my shit list. That man, I had his over 1.5 catches last week, and he had 2 targets that he just let go through his hands that would have gotten me to my over. Not happy about that at all. Rich says, I remember an over and under on tackles, same game, different team on Fliff last year boosted your odds. Yeah, that can definitely, that's not really inverse correlation, but it's good that they thought it was. How do I tackle longest reception / carry model, projecting more yards, more attempts, or both? We've talked about this a couple times on the show. I mean, that's not something that we do, but I feel like your answer is going to have to do your answer is somehow going to have to interpret yards after catch.
Yeah, you kind of need to, I guess, see the projection, but then also account for the type of player that it is. Are they a big yak player? Are they a deep target? It's not a market that I do myself. It's not a market that I project, so I don't have a whole lot of insight into it, unfortunately.
Add a Chase TD to the 16-1 under 8.5 receptions, over 90 yards with a touchdown. That's not bad. Yeah,
it's not bad at all.
It's a good idea, and that shows the magic of parlays and how you can add sports betting 101. Don't bet parlays. Sports betting 606. Always bet parlays.
Always bet parlays.
It's so true. It's the way this works. It's like the same thing with sports betting 101. You want closing line value. Sports betting 606. No closing line value.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is the funny thing about how this world works and how it is just as you progress, everything becomes the inverse. All right. Yeah. Dante Kelsey wants to know Daniel Jones and Aaron Rodgers, 2+ passing.
I think you were expecting an I and the D threw you off. Yeah.
It took me 7 minutes. I was thinking Aaron Jones.
Oh.
Because we already talked about him.
Daniel Jones passing touchdowns. Let's take a look. Looks like some very minor value on the under. I wouldn't bet the over.
Yeah.
And then who was the other one? Aaron Rodgers?
Yep.
Same thing. A little bit of value on the under. I wouldn't bet the over. Throwing 2 touchdown passes is tough to do, especially if it's not a team that has a really high team total. It's just not going to be the most likely outcome most of the time.
It sounds like it's easy to hit because Patrick Mahomes does it every week, but in reality, most teams will you get down to near the 10 and then you're running fancy running plays instead.
Or you have to wind up kicking a field goal or, teams are usually not scoring. Most teams are not scoring enough where the quarterback should average 2 passing touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it sounds great, and then you start looking at the actual numbers, and you're like, "Ooh, there's a reason they want us betting this. That's why." All right, let's see here. We've gone through everyone's questions here a little bit early today, but I get it. Thanks for joining us an hour early here. If you're watching us on replay, thanks for sticking with us, guys. Don't forget, hit that like button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. Join us back here on End Zone Live on Sundays. Prez comes on. He is an absolute character. We love him, and we have the whole host of Wager Talk talent is on, and we are sweating games and going through the entire early slate. It is so much fun. Please join us for that. Hit that notifications button. You'll get every single notification for when we go live on the litany of shows that are offered here on Wager Talk's YouTube. And Rich wants to know, why is the distribution different for TD passes? 1.7 projected with plus 140 on the under is only 3 stars on EVA.
EVA is the one that runs that math. I'm sure I could get an answer for you and dive in, and it would be very mathy and specific, but off the top of my head, I don't have a good answer for you.
Mm-hmm. Chris Demo wants to know Blake Corum over 28.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, I think the Blitz is actually looking at the other side of this one. The theory behind it is, okay, they're going to be up big, and it's going to be Corum running a lot in the second half. The problem is, I said it earlier, I think with Emmanuel Wilson, like the chance of a blowout and that backup stuff happening is always bigger in our heads than it is in reality.
Exactly. And that is the very big thing that you want to watch out for. What's the model wants to know about Chuba Hubbard attempts? I mean, I'm sure that the line has already come down on this.
I would have to think they yanked these, as soon as that report came out. So if you got in on the Dowdle stuff earlier, you're probably feeling very happy. I'll be curious where that line ends up. Chuba, I mean, under 6.5s, if those are still out there, I don't know if they are. They look like even better value now. So, see what's available, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And Matt wants to know, what are we wearing tonight? What is the Halloween costumes? I mean, I'm already in my Tom Selleck Magnum PI outfit for the night. How about you, Derek? Are you going to be dressing up?
I'm not. No, I don't have any big plans tonight.
Just staying in, trick or treat. I feel really bad for kids today that are doing this trunk or treat kind of thing. Like, it just feels so different. Wrong.
Does.
Like,
No, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. This was always one of the best nights of the year when I was growing up. And, part of that is people like me's fault, where we're not like doing anything. We don't, kids, the young adults these days don't decorate their houses and stuff. Not that any of us have houses, but that's beside the point. All right. Dante wants to know, who are your favorites for TD scores? We did have Terrell Jennings and Joe Flacco are the ones that we talked about today.
Yeah.
We're shooting for the upside there, my friend. And Rich says he will personally be gambling on this Halloween night. That's a good one to do. Go to your local. No, I'm not going to say this on YouTube. It'll get us taken down. Bruh says Joe Flacco TD afforded me about $45 million worth of candy to hand out tonight. Very glad you made $45 million betting that and still came back next week to watch the show. I appreciate that.
I always take some winnings and I make sure I get the good stuff. I get none of this like fun size, which now doesn't even mean fun size like it did as a kid. It means like dime sized candy. No, full size candy bars. If you can, take a handful.
That's, exactly. Be the GOAT household. That is what we should all aspire to be. Be the household everybody wants to come to every year. All right. Jim Robinson says last leg, add a Bengals win to the Chase Madness. We're up to 2,700 on that parlay. Insanity, but positively correlated.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, Jamar Chase is like build out the narrative before you get to the numbers here. He's going over his yardage, which means he's having success through the air. He's going under his receptions total, which means they're not passing that much. Second half of the game, have a lead. He's scoring a touchdown. Points get you wins. And they're winning the game.
Kind of like it.
27-1 makes sense.
Yeah.
Damn, Devin Duvernay showing a 100% lock to score a touchdown.
He actually made the early cut for this show, and then the lines moved. So Duvernay, we'll take a look real quick. The lines moved, so I pulled him because you can it's very book specific right now. If you can get like this plus 1900 or this plus 1200, it looks great. If you're stuck at the 750 or the 800 or the 650, it's nothing. So
yes, and Mark is correct. I might use that on a 10%, one of these $10 no sweat bets. I might have to go do that right after we get off here, if I can even do that. And Rich got Flacco at 23.20. We love that. All right.
Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us here early on this Friday. We will be back again next week at our normal time of noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern for Week 10 props. In the meantime, once again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop some comments in the chat. We appreciate you all being here, making this such a fantastic show with you. Seriously, thank you all so much. I hope you all have a happy and safe Halloween. And let's cash some tickets this week to pay for all those king-size candy bars we're giving out tonight. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.